sense to believe we never had enough to give. We didn't have it. But what you have to look at, you do not have to give all of your possessions or all of your money, anything. But it's giving doesn't mean it's a physical thing like this mug. Giving could be your time. Giving could be answering the phone when a friend calls. Giving could be a listening ear to that friend. Giving could give some advice and support to somebody, not asking them to bend and twist to your ways of doing things, but to say, you'll be okay. Stay on the course. Relax in the moment. Take a few deep breaths. All of that is giving. But what happens when we give? That's the question. Whatever we give out to the world, we get it back. 10 times your cup is full, running over. We sometimes don't see how it comes. If we expect the giving to go and the receiving to come, we look for the big boom. But what about whenever you need something, a door opens? The money that you have seems to be able to cover all of your living expenses. The credit card statement comes, but right now you have the money to pay it. So, and you're thinking, well, I work. Yeah. But you're able to put a little to pay this and to do that. That is receiving. And that's where the art of giving comes back to you in receiving. Things are just falling. Not big waves, Tessa-Marie, but things are falling into place. Someone said to me, when I started being more generous with my words, with my attitude, accepting others, that's financial prosperity because it comes back like a boomerang. So we look at money as energy, and it needs to flow, but it needs a container. We talk about having a plan so that life surprises don't become disasters. We do. So we talk about having a plan so that life surprises do not become disasters. We look at money as energy, which it is. It needs to flow, but it also needs a container. So because we have to take these pillars seriously. We can believe we will live life completely in a good way, and we do. But what is important is that we need to understand the pillars of prosperity are there to enable us to live the fulfilled life that we desire. And our fulfilled life should never be a life of comparison or a life of get to somebody's wealth and say, I need to be like that person. How come they can, I can? How come? In life, you will find out, those of you that are very young on TikTok, and those of you that are in TikTok and Instagram that are older, younger, listen to me carefully. It will always change. You will always get there. Your life was not designed like your friends. The parents you had, they were the same parents. But that doesn't mean that because your parents, according to your adult estimation of 18 and over, did a bad job. They worked with the tools that they had. It's up to you when you face your life and you become that parent that you choose to work with the tools that you have and do your best at it. Financial prosperity is making sure you understand that you look at money as an energy. It needs a flow, but it also needs a container to put it in. You can have all the money in the world, I asked you yesterday, but if you are not healthy, you're not really wealthy. So, the money that you have, though, you must acknowledge it. It's your personal mission to yourself. You open your account in your profile in the morning, you look at it on your iPhone, and you do not smile. You look at where there is insufficient because you believe your friend who you know since you were in kindergarten is more financially secure than you. And again, I will say to you that yes, that friend might be more financially secure than you because that friend made some choices you didn't make. And those choices in our life could start when we were in high school, when we quit high school, when we quit university college, when we never took a full-time job working under the table, and then all of a sudden that cash job does not pay anything when you get to be a certain age. So that is a message for those of you that are young and you're considering financial security and you hear it, it's important to have it because it helps you to live a fulfilled life. Money is a tool. But your actions today, and I'll say better so that you get it, your choices and decisions you make today determines the life you live tomorrow. It doesn't matter how old you are. The decisions and the choices that you make today determines the life you live tomorrow. So if you are young enough and you're in college and it's tough, learning is not easy. It is repetitious, constant, and then you have to report and you have to do it. You might as well do not say, I don't like the professor, because they're not going to change that professor because you don't like them. I taught my son that lesson very early. He came home and he did not like the teacher. And that was in elementary school. And he said, I don't like that teacher. They should get rid of her. You call this court. I go, no. Because you don't like that teacher, that doesn't mean they'll get rid of her. And another thing, well, in those days, they would keep you back. Nowadays, I don't think people say they don't keep children back anymore. They just push them through the system. In those days, they kept the children back if they didn't do well. So I said to him, you have a choice. You don't like her this year. So if you don't do well, if you don't get out of her class, guess what? You will be with her next year. And how is that looking for you? So if I were you, you went there to be educated, get the education. She has education that you do not have, and I want it. You went there to get it, so get it and bring it home for me. Because I don't care whether you like her or not. She has something you need that you don't have, and you cannot get it from anybody else right now. She delivers it to you. Accept it, grind through it, because you do not want to be all your friend in one grade higher than you, and you're sitting in this grade. Because he said he didn't like the teacher. I had to teach him that lesson in elementary school. They're not going to move the teacher because you don't like them. What they will do is fail you. And all your friends will move to another grade and you will be sitting in the grade with the same teacher. How is that going to work out for you? And he changed his life. He decided, okay, I have to do this. And to the point he became diligent. And when I noticed he wasn't doing any homework, I said, how come you're not doing homework? He said, I got that done already. I said, and then he said to me, if I listen in class, why should I have to be studying? So he changed because I showed him your life. So when you are 16, 17, 18, all of my followers, 18 to 34 on TikTok, and you're in college and it's hard and the professor is mumbling and they have an accent, you cannot get what they're saying and all of that. You have to do your best because you need to get out there and live that life you want. Otherwise, you will be that person that's telling me about that friend that went to college with you and now they have a home and they have this car and they're doing this and they're going on vacation. The choices and decisions you make today determine the life you live tomorrow. Choices. So yes, it is hard to stay on course. It is hard to stay focused. But our job, if we want to get to the other side of the river bank, we need to swim through raging waters sometime. Nobody is coming to drive us over the raging water. That is one thing we have to remember. So, as a financial counselor too, that I have that diploma, I tell you, financial prosperity is not about the balance in your bank account. It's about the freedom that balances provides. It's what you can do with that. Today we bless your ability to create wealth so you can be a blessing. We focus on the giving heart. The giving first, not last. Give first. Do not give last. It's important to show up and give a little. Do not go back and pull back and hold tight. Money is energy. When energy is not allowed to flow, it bursts. It will cause you to have a big expense that's coming because it has to go. So if you notice that you just hoard and hoard and hoard and hoard and you don't give, but every now and again something just gets horrible and you have to spend so much money to fix it, that is because money needs flow. Enjoy it on yourself also. Giving to you is important. Giving to that self is important. You know, when we look at our life, we are leaving a mark behind with money. Many of us are afraid to teach our children the value of money. Money becomes a secret. It is not a secret. It needs to breathe. And it needs to be allowed to be understood by those that are coming along. You have to look at how you are showing up for your children, your family with money, to enable them themselves to see it for themselves, that when they get their first part-time job, they realize we need to save $5. Do not be like my brother's wife, who told my brother that saving $20 a week is no savings at all. And if you guys doubt it, this man came talking to me at 18 years later. And I said to him, do you have your calculator with you, your phone with you? Yes, he said. Okay. And you guys can do that and try it. Take your phone, 20 times 52 times 18 years of that amount, and tell me how much money you would have today. I have to go. You know what? I have to go. That's my brother. That's what he said to me. So when I do a seminar and people do not realize that saving a small amount is important, I am asking you to do this. When the boss, you're saving 20 and you got a raise, and so many people have said that to you guys too, and to yourself and others and to me. Oh, Tessa-Marie, what is $2? So this is what you can try. 20 plus 2 is 22. So that's next year. First year was $20. Next year is 22 times 52. And on you go. A $2 raise, a $20 raise left in a checking account is like pouring water through a sieve. Excuse me. Amar just said, my son got his first part-time job at 18. The experience has given him appreciation and value for money like never before. Of course. Of course. My son told me when he worked at No Frills, a low-chain grocery store, he said, if nothing else has caused me to stay in school, has been working at that grocery store with men in their 40s and 50s stacking shelves for $12 an hour and raising a family. You need to teach your children about money. Because especially when you said to me, Tessa-Marie, they didn't talk about money in our home. In the home I come from, money was placed under an iron when it was crushed and smoothed by my mom before she took it to the bank from her business when people paid her with crushed money. And she said, if people treat each other like they treat their money, they wouldn't have any friends. That's what my mom said to me. So you see, we have to teach them the value. Even when you buy something for them, something that they asked you to buy, and you notice they're not taking care of it, you need to call them up on that. Even if it is a friend, you asked for it, I gave it to you, and that's what you're doing with it, you better be careful the next time when you ask me for something. So we need to understand that. You want to live a fulfilled life. Or I'm not going to put anybody down, but this is an experience I had at Walmart. It was in the winter. This lady was leaning on the cart. And I said to her, are you okay? I said, are you okay? You want me to get some help? She said, no, I work here. But I'm so tired that I'm just, I'm just resting. I didn't see the supervisor around, so I'm resting. So I looked at her and I looked at my watch. I said, well, it's going to close soon. She said, yes. I said, okay, where do you live? And she told me I didn't have Uber at the time. So I called my daughter and said, can you send an Uber here around this time? And she did. And at home, when I was talking to her at the end, she was not feeling well. But she said to me, I have to come here to work. I must work. I do not have sufficient money saved. And she told me when I had some money saved, but when I got to be 65, somebody told me to cash out my RSP, and that was a big mistake, her 401k. So she didn't have the right advice along the way. And these are the choices. You are sitting down, you're in your 40s and you're feeling nice and you're spending money like there's no tomorrow. That's great. Please put that $20 aside. That is your disposable income. Living a fulfilled life is having the money to do the things you want to do. It is not that money is everything. So do not tell me that money is the root of all evil. No, money is the fruit of what you did. Money is the fruit of your labor. That's what it is. Of going to work, of listening to supervisors tell you to do things that you know you shouldn't do. All of that. That is what money is. Now, every 10 pounds he thinks about is because he stood on his feet for a whole hour. Yes, I am glad you said that, Amma, because I can tell you this. Do you know those big amazing people that's on TikTok and Instagram, the big men and women that save money, pay yourself first. You must pay yourself first. And then they give you a budget. And the last person on the last thing listed on the budget is you. Under the name savings. Last to be hired, first to be fired. Is for everything. The last thing on the list that are a budget, you can look at it, Google it, savings. And that's why I created the Sustainable Financial Saving Plan. In that plan, you're saving $20 a week, but you are number one. Pay yourself first. Another because math is just so easy for me. Another math thing I want you guys to try. Look at it. So they say you should pay yourself first. And I agree. And I devised this. I said, if I must pay myself first, before I became a planner, years when I had my own business, I decided that the money that I make, so you are on a salary, a gross income, or you make $10 an hour, 20, whatever, figure out, take your gross income and divide it by the amount of hours you work in a week. Figure it out. And so you're making $40 an hour. You're making $20 an hour. So by right, if they want me to pay myself first, so we'll start with 20. Then every week I should be saving $100 because I work Monday to Friday. So the first hour I work should be saved. Pay myself first. Because when you save money, you are paying yourself. It's like a debt you owe yourself for working. Oh, you work. Because everything else you make goes towards the mortgage, the rent, the lawyer, the candlestick maker, the grocery store, the gas company, the shoe store. And you are not counted in it. It makes no sense. So, and you will say, and I know that, not many of us can save $100 a week. No, it's not possible. When I started this formula for myself, I couldn't. But then I broke it down. I divided it by 2. Listen and follow with me. I divided it by 2 again. So it was 10. It became 5. I did it by 2. And it became what? $2.50 a day. Can I say that? Can I say that's what I started? No, mine was even lower. $1.75 a whole week. And if you can save $2.5 every day, it's not much. It's 5 days. You know, $2.50 times 5. That's all it is. And you ask your bank to take it from your paycheck every week automatically. Right? $12.50 a week. And you do that. And next time when you get a raise of 25 cents hour, you make it $12.75 like we did. $13, $13.25. And before you know it, we are saving $80 a week. But it did not start at $80. It was a tiny seed that we planted in the ground and it grew. It became the lettuce seed. Pong! The dot you get from your pen is a lettuce seed. And look at the bunch you get when you buy a bunch of lettuce in the store and how much they charge you for it. So you have to start somewhere. You know, all money is a freedom thing. Money allows you to have experience you wouldn't normally have if you didn't have it. That's all it does. It does not give you emotional stability. You cannot buy it to fix your mental ability. You cannot use it and say, doctor, I need a new brain. You cannot go in and say, you need to fix this and that. You can. We pay for it with the money, yes. But again, an experiences you wouldn't never have because all of a sudden you can walk better. You had a hip replacement. You need to pay for it. Okay, spiritually, you decide that there's some people less fortunate than yours. You want to donate, give in an experience. Financially, learning how to manage it, being a good steward of the money you were given. That's what it's all about. When we give, we signal to the universe that we have more than enough. And that is true prosperity. Now be careful. Oh, right, I give the universe will stop giving me. No, the universe is going to say, you emptied your cup in Charlotte's cup. I'm going to fill your cup again. I am a magnet for abundance, you must say to yourself every day. Whether all you have is to buy 1 carrot or 1 potato or 1 chicken leg and that's all you're cooking, everything in one little pot. I am still a magnet of abundance. I manage my wealth with wisdom and I share it with love. You always must have a little to give to someone. Amos says money makes you more of who you are. If you're generous, it expands your generosity. It does. It does. Money is a thing to use. And when you get it, do not say it's not enough. If you have, be careful with your words. Our words are the prophecies of our life. Because you do not have $1 million in the bank, that does not mean you're poor. Because you have only $5 in your wallet, that does not mean you say, I have no money. You do have money. If you have $1.25 and you go to the dollar store, you can move with that dollar item. But if you do not have the 13 cents to give them for the taxes, you're not going anywhere. So if all you have is a tiny bit of money, look at it as the seed to a bigger bit of money coming your way. Money comes directly from the root that you put down, the kindness, the generosity, the behavior, your words, your action, the assumptions you make, how you speak about others, and most importantly, how you start the day speaking about you. That is so important. Okay, you think I don't expect? I have to have wrinkles. I've been hanging around this world for almost 80 years. I must have bruises. I must have this. Apparently, I look at the birch tree that we planted on this lawn and it died. And the arborist said, oh, I can tell you how old it is. It has all these notches. So nature fades. And I am going to face it. I'm not going to complain about it. I think I'll just do it like Elizabeth Taylor said. Every wrinkle I have, I earned it. Because you can't get rid of it. Unless you don't want to ever smile in your life again. So, the money came from the universe. And when he sees you're sharing money, he gives you more. It's better to have an abundance mindset than to be cash rich. Yeah, you can have it and hoard it. And all you have to look at the hoarders of money through the whole world. Look at Scrooge. And look at the people you know that hoards their money. Don't give, don't spend. How do they look? How do they look? There is some dryness that takes over. They look almost like they're what is the word I'm looking for? They're wrinkled and winkled and wrinkled and twisted. And yes, they're wrinkled. Fine, they're older. But there's another dryness and a meanness and a scowl that comes on their faces. So today the thing about it is that we bless ourselves with the ability to create wealth so that we can be a blessing to others. When we give, we signal to the universe that we have more than enough, and that is really true prosperity. And there's something I want you to take with you. It's Friday. We've built the first 4 pillars, and now it's time for the harvest. Let's talk about making your cup overflow.